Welcome back to Monday Evening Quarterback. I hope you guys enjoyed the first portion of the show. I talked about conference championship Saturday, and now I have the whole bracket. Um, TJ was supposed to be on with me, but he had to take care of some things, so I'm just gonna do the show solo. And I want to talk about this 12 team bracket. It's the second year of the college football playoff, and of a 12 team bracket in the college football playoff. The top seeds are as followed: Indiana at one. No shocker there. I mean, they have been absolutely phenomenal this year, and Kurt Signetti has his team playing with the utmost confidence. The Ohio State Buckeyes are number two, and I have a problem with this because they didn't win their conference title game, but we're going to reward them with a first round bye. That just doesn't sit well with me. Georgia should have been the second seed, but they were the third seed, and the fourth seed is the Texas Tech Red Raiders. The first round matchups are as follow. Number 12 seed James Madison Dukes will play the Oregon Ducks, who are the fifth seed. The ninth seed Alabama Crimson Tide, a team with three losses, got in. Shouldn't be that way. They will be playing the Oklahoma Sooners in a rematch in Norman. The Tulane Green Wave will go to Oxford to go take on the Ole Miss Rebels, who are the sixth seed, and probably the one I'm looking forward to the most, Miami, Texas A&M. So it should be fun. I want to know what you guys think, and I actually want to read some comments that some people left me. Some thoughts. I put up a post on Facebook, say, look, sound off on the college football playoff. And I want to read some of these. This comes from Zach Schlomer. He said, I get how they made it in, but it's absolutely egregious how teams with super weak schedules like Tulane and James Madison got in over teams like Notre Dame and Texas or even Utah. I understand the L's for Texas, but in my opinion, they would walk Tulane and James Madison. Other than that, I feel like the teams were placed fairly. From Mike Duffy, no three-loss team should be in. And I couldn't agree with him anymore. From my man Nelson Diaz, I understand why many are upset, but this is the nature of what the CFP built. So long as that's the case, both teams like James Madison and Tulane are going to get in over the others. Notre Dame has shot themselves in the foot by being an independent school. The CFP is not going to reward that. Notre Dame, though, beat two of the teams that are lost to two of the teams that are in this playoff bracket, and I guess that's the direction the committee went in. From Clint York, so many things. The SEC bias is real. Notre Dame refusing to play a bowl game because they are a non-conference team that didn't play for a conference title and wanted to be in a playoff over the team that beat them is insane. Alabama should not be in the playoffs. How was the University of Georgia at 3 and not 2? The committee takes their hats off at the door, but they certainly still show the way they lean, no matter how many teams they expand this to. From my man Stevie Sufferdon, strong side. There's two sides to the coin. One, there's absolutely no world we live in or should live in where a three-loss team should get in a 12-team playoff. That's asinine. I don't care that they were the number one seed in the SEC championship. You lost. You got manhandled by a better team, but because of a tiebreaker, you were the home team in the championship game. Whoopee. Having said that, and at the same time, number two, do not ever leave the fate of your postseason eligibility to the committee. Ever. Had Notre Dame not lost their first two games and won either or both, this is not a discussion and Bama doesn't get in. Period. Very accurate assessment. And from Daniel McCaskill, I think they did a pretty good job. I have no problem with Bama losing an SEC championship game. A lot more impressive than not even playing in your conference championship game. And in parentheses, he put Miami and Notre Dame. I'm going to have a lot more to say about this throughout the week. But yeah, those are the matchups. Now, let's talk a little National Football League and what caught my eye in In the NFL, the Dallas Cowboys came back to reality. They kicked off Week 14 on Thursday night against the Detroit Lions. Dallas coming off that big win against Kansas City, and on Thanksgiving, Lions falling short to the Green Bay Packers, and Dallas didn't even bother to show up. They only won the third quarter in this game. They lost this game 44-30. I'm not shocked that they gave up over 40 points because their defense just isn't that great. For as many points as they score, that's how many points they give up. Dak Prescott, 31 of 47, 376 yards, one touchdown. He threw two interceptions. He was sacked 5 times. Javonte Williams, 17 carries on 67 yards, one touchdown. CeeDee Lamb left this game with a concussion. This could have been George Pickens' time to shine, but he didn't do it. Richard Sherman really wasn't wrong in his assessment, and that's, he was half-assing it. And he was. You had a chance to shine, and this is exactly why the Steelers got rid of him. Because of these efforts. On the other side, I got to give Dallas credit. They kept David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs in check. Both held both of them under 100 yards. Jared Goff, 25 of 34, 309 yards, one touchdown, no interceptions. He was sacked once. This is a big win for the Detroit Lions. They needed this one in the worst way. Won this game 44-30. One game I was really looking forward to. I bet you I would have previewed this if one of these teams had the better record. And that was the Cincinnati Bengals and the Buffalo Bills. Now, these last couple of meetings, Cincinnati has really given Buffalo a tough time. Beat them in the playoffs a couple of years ago, beat them in the regular season a few seasons ago. And you just never know what version of Buffalo you're going to get. And that looked extremely accurate as I was watching this game yesterday because Cincinnati was just walking the ball up and down the field on Buffalo. And this game was very reminiscent to the divisional playoff game a couple of years ago in the snow. Same two teams, but this time it was a regular season battle. You just see the difference Joe Burrow makes with the Bengals when he's on the field compared to when he's not. The ball moves up and down the field more fluidly. He's spreading the ball around. T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, I think, are one of the best offensive trios in the National Football League. But Buffalo has the MVP, the reigning MVP of the league for a reason. And I got to give Buffalo credit because their defense really stepped up when they had to. Getting takeaways, getting stops, getting off the field, getting the ball back to their offense. Joe Burrow, not a bad day at the office. 25 of 36, 284 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. On the Buffalo side, Josh Allen, I think this was probably his most efficient game of the day, of the season. 22 of 28, 251 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. James Cook, 18 carries, 80 yards. He got a couple of big runs when his team needed him to. Josh Allen added 78 yards and a rushing touchdown, so he accounted for 4 touchdowns. And Dawson Knox led the team in receiving. 6 receptions, 93 yards. And, I think this offense is a little bit better when Dalton Kincaid is on the field. And he returned after missing the last 3 games with a hamstring injury. Buffalo has a huge game next week. They needed this one before that. They go up to Foxborough to take on the New England Patriots, who are on the bye week this week. Regarding the Indianapolis Colts, I feel so bad for Daniel Jones. He was having one hell of a year. Unfortunately, he gets hurt. Non contact injury at that. And he tears his Achilles. You never want to see that happen to anybody. And, I send my well wishes and a speedy recovery to Daniel. Colts had a game in Jacksonville, a place they haven't won since 2014, and Jacksonville just absolutely manhandled them 36-19. Now, let me ask y'all a question. Yesterday was December 7th. With a straight face, how many of you had the Colts and the Jaguars playing for first place in the AFC South in Week 14 of this season? Because I certainly didn't. I think the Colts play calling is just it's a little too basic. When they don't run the football, they really don't have much to offer. Trevor Lawrence, what a day. 17 of 30, 244 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and no sacks. The Jaguars are 9-4. They're in first place, and Liam Cohen deserves a little bit of Coach of the Year consideration. It was also another big game in Baltimore. Pittsburgh Steelers, Baltimore Ravens. I love this matchup. Usually the most physical team ends up winning the game. First matchup ever between Aaron Rodgers and Lamar Jackson. There's a total of 6 MVPs between the two of them. Look, I haven't really liked the way Lamar has looked, and I think Lamar Jackson, that is. I think he's more hurt than he's letting on. Because he just doesn't look as explosive. That's the thing. Which version of the Steelers were going to show up? Because they looked absolutely terrible last week against the Buffalo Bills. Scored that touchdown, and then Buffalo just dominated and controlled the game from then on there. Rodgers made a lot of key throws when it mattered. I will give him that much. And looking at the stats, Rodgers was 23 of 34. I said he can't really throw the ball any more than 30 times a game. But this wasn't too bad. 23 of 34, 284 yards passing, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Steelers still can't run the ball for anything. And of course, DK Metcalf was the leading receiver. 7 receptions, 148 yards. On the Baltimore side, Derrick Henry, 25 carries, but Steelers shut him down. Held him under 100 yards. Lamar Jackson, 19 of 35, 219 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And the Steelers retake first place. They won this game 27 to 22. It did come down to the fourth quarter, like many of these Steelers and Ravens games do. Baltimore's in trouble. And I really don't trust the Steelers for much of the same reason either. What else? The Buccaneers have really come back down to reality. It's crazy to think at one time this team was 5-1. Baker Mayfield was getting a lot of MVP talk, but unfortunately, I think the injuries have just piled up, and the injuries have caught up to them. They're struggling right now, and they have a big divisional tilt coming up against the Carolina Panthers. They did lose to the Saints 24-20. The Saints just made more plays when it mattered. The Titans got their second win of the year. It was the first meeting in the pros between Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, and Cleveland has them won. All Cleveland has to do is just get the right coach to use Shedeur to properly coach up and put Shedeur in the right spot, and Cleveland has something. Other than that, Cleveland is 3-10, and the Rams bounced back 45-17. But I want to talk about, the one I got the chance to preview last Wednesday, Bears Packers, and having lived in Illinois, I know the magnitude of this matchup. I was so impressed with the Bears in Week 13 against Philly on Black Friday because they went in there and they challenged the Eagles' manhood. They beat them at their own game. They were physical. They ran the football. Caleb Williams took care of the ball. The defense got their takeaway. They did the rest. And yeah, that was the best I've seen the Bears look all year long. I knew this was going to be the litmus test because Green Bay is a team that really has owned them over the years. And I'm not even saying that to be petty. I'm saying it because it's true. Excuse me. For Green Bay, I was wondering what version of Jordan Love was going to show up. And good Jordan Love showed up yesterday. 17-25, 234 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. He was sacked 1 time. Josh Jacobs had 86 yards. They're trying to feed him and make him a focal point of this offense, and I think they'll be better off because of it. But some of the passes that I saw Jordan Love throwing, wow. Putting the ball right on the money. That touchdown pass he threw to Bo Melton, I thought was probably his best pass that I've seen from him this season. On the Bears side, Caleb Williams, 19-35, 186 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, and I did not like that play call. It's 4th and short. Don't be cute. Run the football. That's not the time for a bootleg or a handoff or, a play action. Run the ball. And, he was picked off. And the Packers won this game 28-21. I actually had 27-21 predicted. These two play again on December 20th, which is a Saturday night game, I believe. And a lot's going to be at stake. I think the division title is going to be up for grabs. I'll just say it now. The winner of that game ends up winning the NFC North. With that being said, about to wrap up Monday Night Football tonight. Philadelphia Eagles, Los Angeles Chargers. The Eagles have dropped their last 2 games. They need this one. The Chargers are getting a reinforcement back. They're getting Omarion Hampton back from the IR. I know he had messed up his ankle earlier in the year. There's no Jalen Carter for the Philadelphia Eagles, so I expect the Chargers to run that ball up the middle. But I think the Eagles are going to come out with a sense of urgency, and I think they win this game tonight on Monday Night Football. With that being said, I'm getting ready to close up shop and call it a show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoy this episode just as much as I have fun recording this episode. Make sure you like, you share, and you subscribe to the podcast on YouTube. The Daily Blitz is the channel on YouTube. Log on to the site and become a subscriber today. thedailyblitz.blog. Keep up with me on Instagram, which is the company page is the Daily Blitz 61, and my personal page is at the football analyst _61. Excuse me. Follow us on Twitter at Daily Blitz _61, and keep up with me on the airwaves Mondays. I don't know about tonight, but I know for a fact tomorrow. Catch me on the Prime. Looking back at Monday Night Football and looking ahead to the up-and-coming week of NFL action. Then you could also catch me on College Football Showdown. Yeah, and of course, I'm going to end the show with my usual shout-outs. Huge shout-out to my beautiful family, my parents, my beautiful little sister Taylor, my mother, my father. Thank you guys so much for all you do. I love you all so very much, and I'm nothing without you. And remember, I'm doing this for all of us. My son, better known as my dog, Siebes, he was just kind of stroaming around in here not too long ago, but you know how dogs are. My other siblings, Sean, Janice, Tanisha, Daphne, Brandon. Huge shout out to TJ Hopkins. He couldn't be here, but he will be back very soon on MEQ. Robert Butler, Jason Tyree, happy early birthday, Jason. Kimmel Fryer, Candace Carter, Mike Griffin, Rob Carter, Velo, who has a birthday coming up. Happy birthday, man. I hope it's a legendary year for you. Alex Bennett, Corey Harris, Deshaun Elliott. A huge shout out to Kevin Cooper, his wife Lynn, their beautiful daughter Evelyn, and a huge shout out to my guy Josh, who just celebrated a birthday 2 days ago on December 6th. Man, I hope it was a great day for you. Thank you for everything you've done. Give my love to the family, Diana, their three beautiful daughters, Tiffany, Natalie, and Madison. Cole Johnson, better known as Coach, our moderator D. I know we got a lot to talk about football wise, so I'm on the way. Don't worry, y'all stop without me. I will chime in and I will join in. This has been another episode of Monday Evening Quarterback on YouTube. I'm Christian Simpson. Thank you guys so much for always tuning in. Have a great rest of your Monday. Enjoy Monday Night Football and also have an amazing week. I will see you guys soon.